It is Wednesday, December 1st, 2020. I am Kenny Bulgari, your host of the party. It is the final month of 2021. Can you even believe it? Christmas is 24 days away, and New Year's is just 30 days away. It's just unbelievable, but it is what it is. So what's going on after yesterday's debacle in the markets and all the news and the Fed and Janet Yellen and the Moderna CEO? So let's just talk about it, right? Jay finally pivots, and he's replacing the word transitory with turbo. Let's talk about that for the next 5 months. Janet then takes the stage and warns Congress not to eviscerate the economy. Moderna CEO suddenly realizes that he cut off his own finger in some of his comments. And the sentiment today is a complete reversal from yesterday. So sit tight. And it's December. So what am I going to do? I'm going to give you the feast of the seven fishes. But we'll get there in a minute. It was November 30th. I could feel the earth move under my feet. I felt the sky tumbling down. I felt my heart start to tremble. Oh, wait. That's a Carole King song from her Tapestry album in 1971. Let's take it from the top again, right? J&J, otherwise known as Jay and Janet, take to the hill. The Wall Street Journal runs with this headline this morning. Powell lays the groundwork for faster end to stimulus as inflation outlook worsens. Oh my God, imagine that in a massive pivot. JJ is finally thrown in the towel, recognizing that inflation is in fact not what he said it was. Could it be that he was just waiting for his reappointment to be official before he upset the markets? Feels a bit curious to me, no? Jay also said it was time to retire the word transitory, strike it from the record, because people interpret it in different ways, and that makes it confusing. I mean, transitory is now being replaced by turbo taper because he is speeding it up. And the word is that now he wants to complete it by February, which is 4 months faster than originally scheduled, which means he's setting us up for an interest rate increase in April. 3 months ahead of what the market expects, Kavish? I mean, it's comical. You can't even make this up because who would ever believe you? And then Janet took a hold of the mic up on Capitol Hill to reiterate that the Build Back Better bill that they tell us is $1.7 trillion is fully paid for. Nothing to worry about, she said. The problem is that the $1.7 bill is really closer to $4.7 according to the Wharton School and the Congressional Budget Office. She then went on to say that if Congress did not raise the debt ceiling this month, that they run the risk of eviscerating the economic recovery. Okay, listen, let's just be clear. The word eviscerate means to disembowel, to remove the contents of your body. Think your organs. Isn't that a bit much? I mean, is that really the right word to use? It sounds a bit inflammatory to me, but I digress. In any event, traders, investors, asset managers, and algos were not happy. And then the Moderna CEO suddenly changed his tune in also a massive pivot, telling us that he's not so sure anymore that the vaccine is going to work against the latest entrant onto the world stage, Omicron, right? Of course he isn't. And why is that? Well, because if the current vaccine worked and 70% of the population is vaxxed, then he just slammed his demand source, which in turn slams his revenue source, which means that he's got to slash and burn his forward guidance and earnings estimates. That wouldn't be pretty. You see, if he says, oh no, it won't work. You need a booster, plus you're going to need a fourth shot just to be safe. You see where this is going? More vaccines to sell to the governments. Cha-ching. Now, it's not like Omicron is so scary, right? Because it isn't. It is what it is. And guess what? It's also here to stay for a while, so get used to it. If anyone thinks that it's going away anytime soon, or if you don't think there's going to be another mutation, I'd say think again. So before you get yourself in a tizzy, just relax because it's here to stay. In the end, I don't believe it's the virus discussion that's repricing the market at all. It's not helping, but it's not the real driver. I do think that the latest act is much more about how quickly Jay has pivoted on his inflation taper and interest rate policy views. And this has been bubbling, right? The market knew this. because I've been saying it for months now. Investors have been jockeying for position as they tried to place their bets on not if, but when it would happen. The majority of the bets were in the July camp, as evidenced by the Fed futures, which had assigned an 85% probability. But yesterday, Jay upended that bet, right? And now the view is interest rates could rise as soon as late April, early May. Now, to be clear, he didn't actually say that, but that's the inference. It's all very orchestrated. And recall, Atlanta Fed President Bostic all but said that over the weekend. If you were listening, you would have heard it. And I did point it out in my note on Monday. Nothing was immune yesterday. Every sector, with the exception of tech, was down more than 2.5% across the board. Tech was down less than 1% as investors hit the sell button on everything. Now, to be clear, yesterday was also the final trading day of the month. It was also an MSCI rebalancing, and it was also some of the usual year-end shuffle. And so some of the selling was just to clean up the books and rebalance the holdings to mimic the index. Nothing more. There is no reason to panic, and I told you that again yesterday. Right? This morning, guess what? U.S. futures are in the plus column, and it's a new month, and global investors are taking it all in stride. Omni is still hiding in the U.S., right? We haven't found it yet, or maybe we have, but we're just waiting for oil to spike higher again, and then suddenly it's going to be announced, it's going to be here, and then the whole demand destruction story caused by the variant is going to be alive and well, and that will send oil once again lower, as the mainstream media just stirs it up. Oh, it's exhausting. At 6 a.m., Dow futures are up, and they're up big, 330 points. S&P's up 55. NASDAQ's up 235 points, and the Russell's adding 50 points. Everything is good. Everything is great. Suddenly, the angst from yesterday is nothing but a distant memory. Eco data today includes the ADP report, right? The ADP employment report. Now, this is a precursor to Friday's NFP report. Expect to see 525,000 new jobs created, or will we see more? Remember, it's the holiday season, so there are a lot of temporary workers that have been hired. So don't be surprised if you see a pop in this number. In addition, we're going to get the market manufacturing PMI of 59.1, ISM manufacturing PMI of 61.2, both bullish numbers, well in expansion territory. Construction spending of 0.4%, and the Fed's beige book that details the health of the U.S. economy by Federal Reserve region, of which there are 12. New York, Boston, Philly, Richmond, Cleveland, Atlanta, St. Louis, Chicago, Minneapolis, Dallas, Kansas City, and San Francisco, right? So the beige book breaks it down by regions across the country. Friday is going to bring us the all-important non-farm payroll report, and that's also looking at, to see an increase of 550,000 new jobs, with unemployment falling to 4.5% and average hourly earnings jumping to 5% year over year. The 10-year Treasury this morning is now yielding 1.5%. Oil is up 4.7%, or $3.15 a barrel at $69.33. So it's still well below, but it's going to go right back to the mid-70s anyway. Expect the VIX to fall big today. It's already down 12% in early trading as the tone goes from bearish to bullish. European markets are rising as investors there put Omicron in its place and digest the latest Fed pivot. Across the region, all the markets there are up 1.7%. November final manufacturing PMI across the Eurozone coming in at 58.4, which is bullish. The S&P closed yesterday at 45.67, down 2% on the day. Expected to take that all back and then some, if they can redirect the conversation about how the recent Fed decision is the right decision and that the U.S. economy is not in danger and it's all good. Inflation is good. That's what they're going to tell you. Funny how that works, right? Yesterday it was a disaster, and today it's all good, which is exactly why you can't make emotional decisions when investing your money, right? You got to have a strong stomach. I am still in the camp that this new variant will not prove to be the disaster that they want you to think it is. Nor do I think the next variant is going to be a disaster either. I'm operating under the assumption that this too shall pass, and that now that the Fed has shown its true colors, you need to be ready for more volatility in the weeks ahead as the market reprices. I think it actually comes more in January than December, but either way it's coming, right? When it comes, not really, doesn't matter at this point, although I'm sure they don't want to see, a lousy December. That's why I think it's January. Remember, you can text the word invest to 21,000 on your cell phone to get my digital business card delivered right into your phone. Feel free to download it, send me off an email or text. I'm always happy to engage, talk markets, planning, thoughts, concerns, and ideas. You can follow me on Twitter and TikTok at Kenny Polcari, and you can get me on Instagram, Kenny P 1961. Yes, it was my badge number when I was on the floor of the exchange. See, I actually have my badge here. I put it in a frame. It's also the year I was born, just so you know. Okay, so look, it is December 1st, right? I said that at the very beginning. So, there's this usual tradition come December in my morning note and what to feature, right? So it is the Feast of the Seven Fishes. This morning it is going to be linguine and lobster sauce. So like I said, it is that time of year. The holiday season is among us. And for those of you who know me, it's all about an Italian Christmas Eve. It's a big thing. And it is the Feast of the Seven Fishes, also known as La Viglia. Okay, so here's the deal. The tradition of eating seafood only on Christmas Eve dates way, way back. I'm not even sure how far back, but it's a long time. And it's built on the tradition of abstinence. In this case, it's abstinence from eating meat on Christmas Eve. And why the number 7? Well, there's so many thoughts on why it is 7, right? Why could it be? 7 is the number of sacraments in the Roman Catholic Church. Or 7 is the number representing perfection. The traditional biblical number for divinity is 3, and for the earth is 4. The combination of 3 and 4 equals 7. No matter, whatever it is, it's a great tradition, and one that I will share with you over the next 7 days. So I hope you enjoy the first of the 7 fishes. And I give you this in advance so you can prepare, right? So the first one, like I said, is linguine and lobster sauce. And for this, you need to make this actually on the 23rd, and then put it in the fridge and let it sit overnight, and then take it out the next day. Oh my God, it is so delicious. So for this, you're going to need 2 live lobsters, like 1.25 pounds, maybe 1.5 pounds, garlic, crushed tomatoes, onions, basil, salt, and pepper. You're going to start with the basic marinara sauce, right? So you're going to saute the crushed garlic in olive oil on medium heat, right? You don't want to burn it. Now you're going to add the 2 large sliced Spanish onions or Vidalia if you can get them. You want to saute those until soft, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. On medium heat, you want to just keep turning them. You want them to get soft, and they melt and they get so sweet. At this point, you're going to add in 3 cans of the kitchen-ready crushed tomatoes, not puree. And if you can't get them crushed, just buy the plum tomatoes and run them through your blender, right? And then your food processor, and then leaving them a bit chunky, and then dump them in, right? Bring all that to a boil, season it with salt and pepper, add in some fresh basil, stir, taste it a little bit. Once it boils, then turn the heat down to medium-low. Let it just cook there, cover it, let it cook, and now you're going to prepare your lobsters. First rule, always use live lobsters, right? You can't use a dead lobster. They have to be flapping their claws, right? You want to rinse them under cold water. You want to leave the elastic around their claws so you don't get clipped. Once you rinse it off, shake it dry, not dry, but just shake the water off a little bit. Take a knife, remove the rubber band, and then you want to take the lobster, you want to put them claw first down into the sauce, right? And then you do the same thing with the second one, right? Now, they might flap their tail, but that's going to be, just for a minute. You want to make sure they're submerged in the sauce. Turn the heat down to simmer, and you got to let it cook for a good 30, 45 minutes, just on simmer, simmer, simmer. That's it, right? The whole kitchen is going to begin to smell. You're going to feel the ocean waves hitting you in the face. It's so delicious. Now, when you're ready, the next day, you're going to bring a pot of salted water to a boil. You're going to add your linguine. You're going to cook it for 8 to 10 minutes till al dente. You're going to strain it, always reserving some pasta water. Put it back in the pot. Add a little bit of the water just to re-moisten it. Don't soak it, right? Now you're going to take 3 ladles of the sauce, put it right in the pasta. You're going to toss it. Let it sit there for a minute because it'll suck it all up. You're going to take a handful, I always do, take a handful of grated Parmigiano or Romano cheese, fresh grated, throw it right in the pasta, toss it again if you need to. And if you got to add another ladle of sauce, feel free to do that. But you can tell, because then what you're going to do is you're going to serve it, right? Now, we always serve it. We make a big buffet dinner on Christmas Eve because I got the 7 fishes all laid out. So we put it in a big, I got this great big dish, right? It's in the shape of a clam. My mother gave it to me for Christmas one year, but it's a really perfect dish for this meal. Put all the pasta in this big clam dish, put more sauce on the top, and then take your lobsters and use the lobsters to decorate around the sauce, and it's really delicious. And for that, I hope you enjoy the first of the 7 fishes. Listen, it's a beautiful day. I'm on my way to New York today, so I'll be in New York on Wednesday and Thursday. I'll be in the Fox Studios live on Thursday afternoon with Charles Payne, and on Friday morning with Stuart Varney. In any event, I will see you then. Take good care.